everyone is signing on. They have one more minute to go, but I'm going to get started. First of all, I want to thank Rita for volunteering to do this. And she did really volunteer, so we didn't have to twist her arm. And she is probably one of the best trainers I would say in the region, no offense to anybody else, on this kind of stuff, but really in all of PA. She does such a great job. She does a better job at managing her office, so this is second for her. But we want to thank her. I think the reason she is so good is because she's out there in the field. She's doing it all the time. And I know that we had someone from ZipForms come on and they did all kind of stuff and it was so fast. And now we're expected to go back and watch the video, which I haven't watched yet. And I did watch my husband do one of the transactions and he kept saying like, what would I do here or there? And I go, just look on ZipForms, they'll have tools. And so he was able to do it, but it'd be nicer if we could all do it a little bit faster. So Rita is going to really show us how to navigate it more like from step by step, which is what we need. And then when we are finished, we will have a Q&A when she is finished with that portion. So I ask if you have any questions, please do not interrupt Rita until the very end. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat. It might be something I can answer. It might be something Christina can answer. If so, she'll answer that in the chat. If not, we'll have Rita look at it at the end. But please stay muted the whole time. Then when we are finished with you all, the admins and the managers are to stay on because we have a couple steps for them also. Is that correct, Rita?
Yes.
Okay, we are really excited about this. I was talking to an agent from a competitor who said they have to pay for their ZipForms and said that they have no idea how to use it because they don't have anyone to train them. And I was telling them about how Rita's going to be training for us. So we hope that you just kind of grasp a little bit. And then as the months go forward, there will be so many other tips and tricks and everything that we're going to roll out to you that you're going to absolutely love. So I'm turning it over to Rita and I'm going to mute and I wish everybody else would mute too. Thanks.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. So just a little recap of what Yvonne said. I am very hands-on as far as training from step 1 to, whatever the ending step is. So A to Z. So I promise you, you are going to walk away with something here today. There is going to be a very brief overview of getting into ZipForms and creating because some agents are still not grasping really the right way to do this. But we're going to be starting with your settings. So if you have a pen and paper and you want to write these things down, you are more than welcome. I'm going to show you how I've set up my office to work. We are at 100% as far as working this ZipForms. And for those of you who still like to do paper, writing your contracts, do not get discouraged. You can still do that. We're going to show you how. So you will walk away today knowing how to submit your documents to your administrative assistant. So I am a very visual person. So a couple things before we get into sharing, I'm just going to let you know. So when I do my training, this here vanilla folder is what I consider my working docs when I refer to working docs. And then all of you know what these look like. These are our transaction folders. This is what I'm going to consider my executed documents as far as what we turn in to the AAs for approval. I did send out a list that I use in my office to all of your managers, and it is sort of a shows all of the documents that either are required or if applicable required in your folders and things like that, that make it a little bit helpful for you to know what really should be in your folder. So with that said, I am going to start from the beginning, and I know you're going to, oh my God, why is she doing that? But believe me, I need to. So I promise you, you will walk away with something today and hopefully have a real good, better understanding of how to do this. So host disabled participant screen sharing. For some reason, Yvonne. You're on mute.
I think that's Wendy. She's the host. Hold on 1 minute. Talk for a minute.
Okay. So you know what? And what I can do is, so little tips to give you a heads up. So the most important thing that you need to know about ZipForms is number one, you need to be in Google Chrome. Google Chrome is how ZipForms runs at its best. So you have to make sure that your browser is in Google Chrome. A lot of people don't know how to get into actually the browser. So I was going to start and show you that, how to get into it, but you will also, I don't know what that was. Oh, everybody is not muted. 412-268-7220 is not muted. I think they're ringing. I don't know who that is, but so anyway, you do definitely need Google Chrome, and the best way to get into ZipForms is going to be through your GoHanna. So I know that some of you are used to using certain links on your computer. I know some of you have shortcuts on your computer that if you double click on, they take you into GoHanna. Those links are not necessarily opening up Google Chrome, and that's where we have some issues. So you really do need to be able to get into Google Chrome. I'm going to see. Not sure how to mute this person. Okay. All right. So until we're able to share here, a couple other things. So we're going to actually start. When we start, oh, there we go. Wendy's the host. So maybe this will. Wendy is now on. So we should be fixed here, and hopefully my button was green, so I assumed I was able to share. Let's see.
Well, I don't even know how I am the host or how to do that.
Well, Wendy is on, so I'm assuming that it looks like she's on anyway.
Okay, she should be able to share.
Well, I need to
No, just Rita.
Yeah, I should be able to share.
Right.
So those of you who have these shortcuts on your computer, you can still keep them there, but you have to understand that when someone says that they need a specific browser, you have to be able to.
Rita, excuse me, try sharing for 1 minute. See if you could share.
All right, we got it. We're good to go.
Thank you, Wendy.
All right, let's do share screen. Oh, hold on. Let me see. All right, you guys see my screen now? It has 2 dogs on it. Y'all see that?
I do.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the big thing that I want to show you really quickly is down in your corner here, you have this, down in the left corner, looks like a magnifying glass. To get Google Chrome, all you're going to do is click on it, and you can type in Chrome, and it will come up Google Chrome. This is how you will open and ensure that you are in Google Chrome. Now, let's make sure, hold on 1 second. Did Google Chrome open? Just nod or say yes or no.
You're not, we're back to the screens where we see all the people.
Okay, so hold on 1 sec, because it opened on I have 2 screens.
I see
Google Chrome.
I'm
Sharing.
I have Google Chrome.
I don't know why.
I'm seeing Google Chrome.
Okay, everybody can see Google Chrome?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So for those of you who don't know and always use their shortcut, all you do is come up here in the top bar, and all you're going to type is gohanna.com, and it will take you into GoHanna, and you will sign in to GoHanna. Okay. All right, I'm going to move your pictures onto my other screen. There we go. All right, so big thing when you go in here, you're going to click on Agent Tools. When you click on Agent Tools and you move down, you're going to see ZipForms Plus. You will click on ZipForms Plus. Now, depending on if you're an AA or if you're a manager, or sometimes with the agents, if you haven't done this, it may ask you for your NERDS number, so be prepared for that. If you need to have your NERDS number, ask your manager on how that can be obtained. But once it gets to know you, you don't have to put it in all the time. This is what's going to come up. And yours is actually going to, the way we set it up, yours is actually going to open up to your transactions. And that is going to be what it looks like here. Okay, so the first thing that I want to review with you so that you understand and get things set up correctly and get all of your notifications. Up here under the up top on the right corner, it says me. If you click on that, it's going to have your name and your office address right here. Just make sure that yours is correct when you're going in, and then you would click Profile and Settings. When you go into Profile and Settings, now this is how I have all my agents set up, because some of this we don't use, but some of this we do, and we want to make sure it's correct. We're going to work across this gray bar, and if you look, this is the About Me we're on right now. You're going to make sure that your information is correct in here. So you'll have your name, email, phone number, and fax number. If you want to put in your license number, you can. And then you're moving down, and if you click on e-signature, make sure that there is a check mark here to include on all outbound notifications. And then at least, at minimum, put your name, your company, your office number, cell, and fax. This is going to be included on your email signatures that you send out from Zip Forms. Any changes that you do in the About Me, you must come back up and hit the Save button. So you will hit the Save button, it will save, and then you will move over to Sign In and Securities. When you come in to Sign In and Securities, if you see username and password, this is where you will note your username. Everybody's username is going to be a little bit different. Some people will have their MLS number. Some people will have their Howard Hanna email address. Some people will have the HH Inc. So just make note of that so you know what your username is. If you need to reset your password, this is where you can do that. Now, this next section down here is security and account recovery information, two-factor authentication. I don't have it turned on. I have that turned off. If you do turn it on, it is going to ask for your mobile number and your email address, and it's going to verify those for you. If you want that two-factor I can never say that word, but if you want that, that's totally up to you. The next section that we're going to go to is offices over here. Now, the agents do not have this tab or this little section that says offices. This is for the AAs and the managers. AAs and managers, you're going to want to make sure that your office is correct here and that you are checked off for your office. Agents, just ignore because it ain't going to be there for you. The next section here is forms. Now, under forms, agents, you will not have this section that says address displayed on forms, but AA and managers, you will, and you're going to want to make sure that it is correct.
Can't see.
Okay, everybody sees that? Nothing else to do on here. But note, anytime you are in here, if you make changes to anything, you want to make sure that you hit the save button at the top. Coming across, you're going to click. You guys do have products. There is nothing for you to do under products. So we're going to move to settings. Now, under settings, you do have some things that you need to do here. So the first thing is under e-signatures options. You're going to make sure that your digital ink 2.0 is checked off. And you want to make sure that your Eastern time zone is correct. A lot of people have this set incorrectly and it needs to be changed to the Eastern time zone. Moving down to your account preferences, this is, excuse me, your landing screen. So agents, my recommendation is your landing screen should be on your transaction list. So when you change it to transaction list, it says choose the default, choose my transactions. So agents, transaction list, my transactions. Managers in AAs, my recommendation is dashboard, because this is where you're going to do most of your work as the AA and the manager. Coming down under the preferences, I have everyone set this time interval for 5 minutes for autosave. So for those of you who don't know what autosave is, if you sort of went out and came back in and said, where's my stuff? You aren't set for autosave. So after 5 minutes of working, it will start to autosave automatically for you. I do have the hide global navigation bar off and the automatically check the PDF documents off. Another important thing that you need is this check mark where it says import template data to the transaction when the template is applied. So you're going to want to make sure that that is checked off. Agents do not have this user list preference. This is only for AAs and managers. I have mine set to 200 and that's it. So then nothing else there. And then moving down, there's nothing else that I actually have set except for the very bottom where it says mortgage services integration and insurance integration. They are both off at this time. Coming back up, you always want to hit the save button. And then we're going to go to notification settings. This is where a lot of notification settings are. And again, if you're—
Excuse me, Rita.
Yes.
Rita, can you just slow down just a bit for everybody?
Absolutely. Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. So under notification settings, tasks and checklist, everything is turned on. And then I put a 2 in the days before and the days after. Under doc inbox, turn them both on.
2.
Under transaction, turn them both on. Under document, turn them both on.
Wait.
Susan, you're not muted. Suzanne. Under share, turn them on. And then under broker approval, email notification on. And just for those of you who are writing, you're going to get this in a recording so that you can sort of go back and listen and do your thing at the same time, just so you know. So you won't really miss anything. Your digest approval notifications on. And I chose every 1 hour. And then your in-app notification on. Agents do not have this in regards to all users in their office, but the AAs and the admins do. I have that turned on. AAs and admin, this is something that you can toggle and open. And what you'll end up seeing is a list of agents in your office, and just make sure that there is a check mark next to your agents, and you can actually uncheck. If there's anyone in there that is not in your office, you'll want to uncheck. Okay. All right. Under email signature on. And then I did set these up just in case we get to the next step. So this is safe to have as far as your list flash. What I did was I chose zip code where there's a little mark there, and I put 25 miles of my office zip code. And then the notification setting, just checking off the middle that says email me every time one is published. Offer notification, I do have on and on. Now, when you go to turn these on, it will ask you to activate it, and you'll put in your cell phone number. It will send you a code where you just have to put in and verify that code, and then it will put in your cell phone number there. And then the retention policy, I just put in retention every 1 day for transaction. Coming back to the top, always hit the save button. And we are done with settings.
What was the retention?
I just put 1 day, number 1.
Thank you.
Wait.
Okay.
Rita, hold up a minute. They're trying to do this as you're doing it, and it takes a second for this stuff to click on. So just give us a second.
Okay, so again, if you want to, you'll be able to do it as you go. Once you get the recording, it'll be a lot easier. So we're going to continue through because we have a lot to go through. But again, like once you get the recording, you can take your time and listen to everything and see it. Because if you're turning on that auto notification, you're going to have to verify your phone number and so on and so forth. Okay. So make sure that the save is on. Somebody's not muted. So the next thing that I want to show you is under templates, right here, templates. When you go into this, and you have a bunch of different things. So if you look, you'll see I have things in here and this is shaded out. We don't have access to that. That's great. A lot of agents have been using this program incorrectly. They have been creating documents in here. You should really have nothing in here. Especially personal things, transactions, 123 Main Street or John Smith's buyer agreement. If you have that in here, you created them in the wrong place. They should not be in here. So if you have anything in here that if you notice will have a name and then it'll have your name under here, that was made by you in the wrong place. You can actually go in, if it is like that, you can delete what you created because it is not a template. You as agents should not be creating templates. There is no need for it. Okay, so just wanted to show you that. Never, ever, ever come in here and create a transaction. All right, so let's talk about
Rita, it's Lori. I have a question. So when I first started to use zip forms, my manager at that time, Buzz, taught us to use these templates.
Correct. Lori, let me answer that question because I know where you're going with it.
Okay.
So back in the day, that was for you to have your personal information come over, your name and things like that into each transaction. We have it now set up where your personal information will come over on its own.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's start with transactions. Under transactions, when you come into transactions, the first thing that you really need to do, especially if you've been here for a while, is try to get organized. So if you come over to the right side, you have two little buttons. One looks like the lines, and if I click it, it's going to show me and change my view so that I can see my transactions like this, or I can do it as a grid, which I prefer. Up to you on which way you like to look at things. The other one that looks like a gear, when you click it, it should have a green check mark and group by status. If it does not, all of your things are in one place, and you're going to want to say, now, if it says group by status and no check mark, this is where you're going to click because you want to group it by status. The check mark is telling you, yes, you are already grouped by status. So the other way to know that you are grouped by status is to come over to here and you're going to see all your statuses as far as active, pending, closed, inactive, fell through, prospect, and unassigned. Now, you can choose however you plan on using this for your business. I teach at my office, all my actives, all your actives, anything that you're working on should be under active status. I don't have anything under pending, and really if it's pending, I keep it under active until it closes. So once it closes, it's going to want to know what it closed for as far as the price and the date of the closing. Inactive is great for any of those transactions that maybe you did a test for, because we cannot delete transactions, but they can be classified into inactive status so that you're not seeing them all the time. This is also good for somebody that you started a deal or whatever, didn't go anywhere, there's nothing executed, you can turn them into inactive. They decided not to buy, whatever. Fall through or fell through, those are the ones that you've gotten a fall through letter signed and the deal didn't go anywhere, but it did fall through, so you're going to stick into here. And then prospect and unassigned, that is up to you on how you want to use these. Now, going in, and I'm just going to open up my active to show you how to change something and to get it into the different groups. So throughout the program, there are more than one ways to skin a cat in here, okay? For everything that you do, there's probably another way to do it. I'm going to show you two. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this is the transaction name, okay? You're going to come into this blue circle with the white arrow. You click on it for more actions. You say transaction details, and this will come up. And then right here under status, you will tell it where to go. So I'm going to change that because it was a test and I want it to go to inactive, and I'm going to say save. So now this one will disappear and get into my inactive folder. The other way to do this would just click on this, open it up. Under the summary tab, you see across the top your choices. All you would have to do is click your choice on where you want it to go. Go back to your list. And it will file it for you. Okay? All right, so let's talk quickly about how to properly create a new transaction. So no matter what, whether you are getting your papers signed in person or whether you're going to be using digital ink, everybody has to do this step. Okay, so
for you,
Lori, you're not muted. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Okay, so under transaction, you are going to say new. Okay, now before I go to that, what I want to show you is two things. As for listings and sales, how you should be naming these. They should be the addresses. So for example, if you look here, this is actually a listing and it has the address of the property. That's how your listings should be named. They shouldn't be named anything else, because if we need to find them, it's under address. And then for buyers, and you can do this for sellers too, depending, but you do need the address. And then I usually put the buyer's last name in parentheses, so I know my buyer's name in there. Now you can do this for sellers if you want, in parentheses, put their name, but it always should have the address of the property. So for this example, I'm going to show you, you're going to go in and click new. This will come up and you have your options between new listing, new purchase, new lease listing, and quick sign. For the sake of what we're creating, we're going to stick with the new listing and the new purchase. I'm going to go into the new purchase. I just click it once and this comes up. This is where a lot of agents get confused. So number one, we're going to start from top to bottom, left to right. So you have to fill these in. Under the name, the property, you're going to put the address. And for the sake of today, I'm just doing this again as a test. So I have the name and just say it's 123 Main Street. Now, your location, make sure that your office location is here. If you're using MLS Connect, that is here for you as well. You're going to choose, and I chose residential. And then down here, it's automatically chosen for me because I'm starting something new as active. Now, agents do not have their agent name in here. I believe AAs and managers do. So make sure AAs and manager that your name is in here. And then this is the part where most people forget what they need to do. This is where you select the template. So all you do is click on it, and what you see are your choices. So as you can see, my choices are agreement of sale forms, ignore the test, and West Penn listing forms. Those are going to be your two choices. This is where you will apply the template. You don't go into templates. You pick your template right here. So if you go into this and this is where you're missing something, you need to let your manager know. They will get in touch with the appropriate people. But you do not go into templates. This is where you apply your template. So I'm going to choose office agreement of sale. As you can see, it's put in there. And all I'm going to do is say save. All right. So when this comes up, you're going to be in the summary tab. So if you take a look right now, you're in transactions in the blue and then summary. Right next to summary is the name of your transaction that you named. These are the steps across the top here, the things that you're going to be working in. So in your summary page is where you will start to put in information about the property. You can start here and start putting in the address. You can put in the purchase summary as far as your purchase price, no matter what. So wherever you're putting in information, it is going to take that information and fill out your forms for you. So you start on here, and then the next step is you go across to your parties. Now, as you can see, and Lori, this is where your question will be answered. When you guys click on parties, your name and information will be here. This is applying you as the agent. This is why you don't need your personal templates. Okay, so you all know how to add people over here. A little suggestion, and I had all my agents do this, is I had them come down and scroll to add other. And when they added other, I had them put manager, my name, my email, save as contact, and hit save. And what that did was that included my information into their address book so that whenever they are doing a listing, they can actually add me for my signatures to the listing contract, because the listing contract is somewhere where the manager needs to. You only have to do this once. And as long as this is checked where it says save as contact, that manager's name will be in your address book for you to choose each time you have a listing and want to send her for something for signature, or him. Okay? So that's just a little tip to do. Now, here's where we get into documents. So you click on the gray and you come into this page here. Now, some of you, this is the way I like it to look. If yours looks like this, that's fine if you like it to look like this. If you don't and you want it to list, you just come over here and choose these squares, okay? So remember when I held up in the beginning, I held up a plain manila folder and I said, this is going to be my working documents. And then I held up a folder that said it was the transaction file. This is going to be my executed documents. Okay, so I want you to think of your working documents. If I open this up, I open a manila folder, I walk back to my file cabinet in my office because I'm about to go in and meet with my client, and I take all of the files that I need and I stick it into my manila folder, my working documents. Well, they're all here for you already, okay? So this is your working documents. Now, I'm going to show you a tip that it looks like we're going to send something for signature just so you guys know how to work it. And then we're going to get back into how to submit your executed documents to your AA. So this working document, if I'm in here, no matter what I click on and fill in, it will fill in everywhere. So if I go into the input sheet and I start filling out, and this input sheet I'm going to pull up to show you, this is a very important document for your administrative assistant. If you see it, it looks like the exterior of the folder. You must fill this out. It must be a part of what you send for approval in your folder, okay? So if you start typing in here, it will actually fill in everywhere else. So remember in summary, if you start put things in there, it's going to put the address. Well, it's going to appear here. If you put it in, it will appear here. If you change it here, it's going to change it over there. So these documents are all talking to each other. Okay, so I just wanted you to see what this folder looks like. Oops, sorry. Another way to get to your folders, but I'm going to get back here. I'm in my working folders right now. This is all in here. Now, for those of you who'd like to do electronic signatures, if you like electronic signatures, we're going to show you a tip here. If you go to e-sign right up here, and you say new, you're going to choose the documents that you want signed from your working documents because those are the documents that you filled in. So just for, I'm just going to click on 3 to just show you this trick. I'm going to say close. Now what it did was added the documents that I wanted signed that I'm sending over for signatures. So here are the tips that you need to know. Number 1, packet name. Rename it. If you do not rename this, it's going to come back signature packet 1, signature packet 2, signature packet 3. Wouldn't you feel more comfortable knowing what's in that signature packet? I would rename it and I would just say, listing contract. Or if it is a reply to inspection, type in reply to inspection. Whatever it is, rename it. The next thing is you want to make sure that it says Digital Ink 2.0 here. And then the third thing that everyone in my office loves is this is where you need to pay attention. It says return folder. So it says choose a folder for return signed documents to go into automatically. So what this is doing, if you click on it, you want your working documents that get signed to come back to your executed documents because now they're signed. So you would choose executed documents and say done. So now picture taking your working documents, sending them electronically to your client out of your manila folder. But when your client signs them, they come back and they return into your executed folder. This is a nice step. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, that's the tips for all of that. I'm going to go back now. And I am going to show you a tip in regards to if you need to move something. Let's just say you didn't choose where it needs to go back to, but you need those documents in your executed documents. There's a couple ways that you can move things. So if you're something in your working document that you have to move to your executed, and for example, the key here is this input sheet. This is crucial and needs to go into your executed documents. So you have more than one way to do things. If you're only choosing the input sheet, one thing, you go straight across, you hit that little button down here, and you say move. And then tell it where to move to, executed, move. It took the input sheet and moved it into my executed folder. If you have more than one, you can click and check the ones that you want. Or what you can do is if you have, like, if it's everything in the folder, your option here is select all. If you are doing that more than one, or the select all button, you're going to come across and find the move button on top here, where you would say move and tell it where to go to. Okay, so let's say that your documents now have gone out for signature, they've come back and they've been placed in the executed documents folder. Okay, here it is. So remember I said executed documents folder is your transaction folder. So think of your transaction folder as you're holding it in your hand. Everything that has to do with that goes into that folder, correct? So if you get an appraisal, you put it in there. If you get a reply to inspection, you put it in there. If you get an inspection, you put it in there. So how do you get those things into your folders? Well, there's a couple different ways that you can do that. Number one, you're in your executed documents. You can actually add documents to this. So how do you do that? You come up here and click this Add Docs button. Now, for those of you who like to do your transactions in person, remember I said you take exactly the steps that we took to create your folder, but what you will do is you'll come into your executed documents and you will actually upload your document into the executed documents. So if you have your consumer notice, your buyer agency, your sales agreement, you can actually put all of those together, scan them to yourself, put them on your desktop, come in here and say add document. You click on add document, you browse for the document, and it will take you to your, wherever you're at, as far as if you have a file that says desktop or whatever. I'm just gonna pick something and put it in here. Let me see what I have. Trying to see which document is I'll just put it here. You can name it here for the display name. So if this is a home inspection, you can name it home inspection so you know what it is. You can put a description if you'd like, and you're going to say, okay. Now, if you are uploading your whole transaction, key for the AAs, please put them in order. Meaning your consumer notice is 2 pages. It should be consumer notice page 1 and 2. Page 2 shouldn't be at the end of the sales agreement. It should really have a flow so that they know what they're looking at. Okay. So as you can see, I added the home inspection to this executed documents folder. All right. Okay. So I know that Christina's on here. There's one thing, and I'm going to show you here. Hopefully soon, we're going to make this very easy and it'll be fixed soon. I'm not sure if it's fixed just yet. I'm going to try something actually really quickly just to sort of see if it is. If not, it is not. Okay. All right. So this, we're going to skip over that until it's fixed. So how do you submit a folder to your AA for approval? So keeping in mind that most offices, it's the manager that's going to approve. The AA is reviewing it for accuracy and to make sure all of your documents are included. So all you need to do is to remember this. This is what you all came for this training. So here's what you need. When you have everything in the executed documents, so there's 3 times that you're going to submit a folder. The first time is when you get a listing, right? The second time is going to be when you get a sale. And the third time will be when you get a closing. So if I have a listing and all my listing documents are in this executed document. This is the only folder that the AAs will be looking at. So it is your job to make sure that everything is in this executed document, just like you would have it in your folder in your hand and you would hand it into her in the box. Your job is to make sure that it has everything. So once you have that listing, this is what you're going to do. Once you have an executed sales agreement, this is what you're going to do. And then once you have a sale, this is what you're going to do. Now, if you have a sales agreement, you have to hand in hand money. The hand money has to go to the AA. You can't just upload a check here and think we can do anything with it. The hand money does have to go to the AA. When you close, if you get a check and you bring the check to the AA, but you want to upload the ALTA to this executed documents, right? So you want to make sure everything's in here. All right. So all you do, here it is. I'm in my test listing in maybe 123 Main Street, whatever you want to call it. I make sure that I'm under transactions because that is where I need to be. And I make sure I'm under the documents tab. This is key for the agents. Documents. I open my executed documents. I simply press select all. Don't worry about what you're submitting. You don't take things out of a hard folder to hand to your AA. You hand her an entire folder. She looks at it. So select all. Right across the top, you hit approval. This will come up. You make sure that it says needs reviewed. And you can actually put a note in here for your administrative assistant. So if it is, if it's a sales agreement, you can say hand money on your desk. Getting the hand money in 4 days, whatever it is. Whatever note you want to send to your administrative assistant here, you would type in and you would hit apply. Now, before I hit apply, look at under here what's going to change and you'll see it change. I'm going to hit apply and everything was submitted to the AA that needs reviewed. Okay? The AA will take care of looking through it to make sure that it's reviewed. If by chance, and this is the part for the agents to see, if you send this over, and I'm going to show you what the AA sees. I'm just going to mute somebody. Okay, there we go. So you see needs reviewed, right? That's all you did. Let me just review that one more time for you, how you submit for review. Big thing is you're in your transaction, you're in the file that you want to send to for review, documents. You must be in documents. You select all, you go right across the approval button right here. Don't go straight across. If you go straight across, it is only going to send one document for review. Select all, approval right here. Now, just to let you know, if you have a document that you want your manager to look at, you can send one document for your manager. The key there, that is where you would say, okay, I wrote something in on this contract I want you to review. I would click on that. I would come over here and I would submit it here, just like it would say submit for review. That's how I would do it. Okay, so that's one document. When you're handing in a file, I cannot stress enough. Transactions, make sure it's the file you want. Documents, select all, across the top here, approval. And then you hit needs reviewed, put your note, hit apply. Okay, so there you go. Now, let me show you on the dashboard. The administrative assistants are going to come into here and they're going to pull up and see who submitted a file. They get to look at this. If they go in and look at the file, they're only going in your executed documents. Everything must be in here, okay? If they go into here, the AAs will not approve. They will either reject or they will send it to the managers for approval, okay? So if they come in here and they look at their documents and they say, oh, you're missing a document or you're missing initials or signatures or whatever it is that your AA looks for, they're going to hit the not approved and they're going to tell you what you're missing. Missing seller's disclosures. And they're going to say not approved and they're going to send it back to you. I don't know, let me. And you will actually see, and for some reason, I don't know why today it's not doing it. Okay, there we go. You will see a not approved. So as an agent, you'll also probably get an email because that's what we have you set up to do. If you get into transactions, you can come in here. You go into your transaction that you sent. You go into your documents, into your folder. You're going to see this not approved button. You just click one of them. And for some reason, my comment didn't come over and it should have, but oh, because I redid it. I apologize. So there'll be a comment here telling you exactly what you're missing. Okay, so basically think of it this way. You took a folder, transaction folder, you handed it to your administrative assistant. It wasn't complete or there was something wrong in it. She hands it back to you and says it's wrong or incomplete. You have the entire folder. You need to get it fixed. You need to come back in, fix what it is that was told of you, select all, send it back over, needs reviewed, included seller's disclosure, and apply it. And now it's back in the AA's hand. Okay, so very simple. Again, transactions, make sure it's the right one, documents, select all, approval. When you hit approval, needs reviewed, note, apply. All right, so this is where agents, this is the section of the agents that is really finished. So if we have questions, I don't know what's come in. Let me unshare for a second. All right, we got a lot of things in here.
Rita, most of them were answered. Nick Morgan from insurance is asking, will the AA submit the file to Profit Power?
Yes. So yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. So we're going to, after we're done with the agent section, we're going to talk to the AAs on how they do things and the managers on how they do things. Is there any questions in regards? I do want to show the agents one more thing to look for. But other than that, are there questions on how you submit your folders? Anne, you have your hand up.
I do. I just want to ask a question. When you were going through the transaction, you kept referring to this digital ink, but I'm assuming there's a drop-down bar there for DocuSign, correct?
If you pay for DocuSign,
I do.
Yes.
Okay. Second question was, You said if you want to get a new listing flash, is that going to come the regular MLS flash? Is that what you're talking about?
So I don't believe that we are set up yet for that. I'm going to assume
Okay.
that that is another little facet of zip forms. So we just set it up just in case that, you know, when that rolls up, you're
Okay, so that's not applicable at this time.
not that I'm aware of it this time.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Rita, it's
Yeah.
Lee. Okay.
Yes.
I usually do, if I'm sending out blank listing forms for somebody and they want them digitally, I usually went into Matrix. Is it easier to do this in HANA?
You're saying you went into zip forms through Matrix.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you should be going through GoHana to get into zip forms. Number
Okay.
one, I mean, it's your digital it's your dashboard. It's your digital dashboard where everything is. I always called it my virtual office where I could do everything. So you should go through GoHana. I'm not saying that, number one, you should automatically go in there at least once through GoHana because that's going to set your account. So if you have not ever gone in through GoHana, you must, in order for this to work, do that at least one time.
Okay.
Okay. So I am going to go back to share. Hold on.
Really quick, Rita, if I could just piggyback off of that.
Yep.
See, whenever you do have, when you do log in through GoHana, that's where a lot of the HANA templates are linked to.
Yes.
So 9 times out of 10, they do work when you go through the MLS, but 10 out of 10, they work when you go through GoHana. It's just easier to have everyone go in through that way because our dashboard works correctly.
Yes. Okay. So the other thing is my zip forms up on the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I see a couple more hands. So Lori.
My question was that when I went into folders when I was doing this along with you, I only had archived. I didn't have working or executed.
So Lori, if you did that, you've set up incorrectly. That's the key. And if you do not go in, and I'll show you under new, if you say that this is the key, if you don't apply one of these templates right here, you're not going to have those folders. Correct.
Gotcha.
So you should apply one of these. Okay. Tony?
Hello. If an agent's having difficulties, should they reach out to the manager or use the help email that we managers use?
I would say that they should probably reach out to you first because I think it's something that you guys are going to be able to help them with. And then if not, you reach out to the help because I don't think that they want everyone in the, like sending 50 million emails to that address. So.
And I do think most managers would be able to answer the question. So.
Yes. Meg, did you have a question?
Rita, I have a question. It's Jean.
Okay, hold on one second, Jean. Meg, go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, I do have a question. So I've always used the a pre-filled packet that we did a while ago. And what I like about it is for the inspections, I have sewer camera test and also have like the little box checked off that the seller is limited to the hand money deposit. So just like a few little things that I feel are important to have on the agreement. And I'm not sure if they're on the HANA templates.
They are not. It is something that when you say checked off as far as the, you're talking about the return of hand money, is that what you're, or no?
Correct. And like say for the return of hand money, where it says like 180 days, I put in 30 days. So little things like that, like I like the security of knowing that they're there and I'm not going to space out and forget like a sewer camera test.
The sewer camera test, I don't know that that's on the addendum. Oh, you're talking about, you add that on page 14.
So under the inspections, so I always put it like for other inspections, the sewer camera test.
Okay, my first comment would be, you don't have to do that, because if you read under home inspections, it's already in there that they can schedule that. But if you do choose to do that, that is not set up because everybody is different in regards to the HANA templates. That is not. Okay, Ann?
Oh, Rita, I had a question.
Oh, Jean, go ahead. Sorry, Ann, hold on.
Very quickly. If agents would like to, say for a listing contract, they print out the whole listing contract, all of the documents, take it to their customer for an actual signature,
Yes.
come back to the office. Now they want to put it on to zip forms.
Yes.
Do they have to scan each set of forms separately? Like the,
So in my office, the answer is no. I just think that's tedious. So that to me, as long as my agents have it in a flow, meaning consumer notice, listing contract, input, like as long as it's going in a flow and it is correct, I allow them to upload it all together and put it into their executed folder. Now, the one thing that I didn't show you yet, and there's a couple. So if you look at my screen, the one thing I do want to show you, this down here, this little stamp, if you see that it's green, that means that it has made it to the manager and the manager has given the stamp of approval. That's what that means there. If it is not green, then it has not been approved by the manager. Okay, the documents, again, the AAs are not approving. They are either sending them back not approved, or they're sending it over to the managers to approve. And we will get into that next. The other thing, Jean, is the people that are scanning things in, whether it be the entire transaction or whether it be one document or two documents, you have two options now. One is that you scan it to your Howard Hanna email and that you upload it by using that add doc that I already showed you. The other one is, if you look here across the top in the blue, you all have something called a doc inbox. If I click on the doc inbox and I click documents, right here, it says my inbox address. This is an email address that you should know. This is your doc inbox email address. And how do you use this? Well, a couple different ways. If you're working with another agent, you're sending them files and they need to send them back to you, you can give this to them to send those documents back to you, which they will appear here down in this section. And then you would actually choose it and you would move it to your transaction and the executed document folder. Okay, so let me just show you something really quick. Let's do that. Well, I'm gonna pretend that I gave this to somebody and they scanned it to me. Now, I believe that I've trained a few of the managers in the AAs. What we did in my office to make things easier for our agents is, I know Monroeville did it under Z for zip. I did it under D for doc inbox, but we got everybody's doc inbox email address and we actually put it into the copier scanner so that you yourself could actually do this as well. You could go to the scanner, scan or pick this email address. So in our office, it would be Sumney Doc Inbox. That's this email address. And then if I go to Rita Sumney, it's ritasumney@howardhanna.com. So if I choose this email address and I scan something to me, it's going to appear here. Now, you're scanning it into here, but this does not know where you want it. You actually have to choose it. And I say always choose move, because if you choose copy, it's going to keep it in here and I don't know why you would do that. It would just get cluttered. So you would click move to transaction. And once you click it, it takes a minute to come up. But what it's going to do is it's going to ask you, what transaction do you want this to move to? Sometimes I get frustrated and I click twice. So it'll say, where's the transaction you want it to send to? It's not telling the folder, but transaction. So if I click my transaction, it's going to move it into that transaction. So if I go back into my transaction and I open this up and go under documents, you'll see that it appeared here. Well, then my job would be to click it and move it into my executed, and now it's in there. Okay, who else? Jana had her hand up.
I was wondering about the mobile app for our phones or our tablets. Will we have access to that to be able to utilize the zip forms?
Christina?
That is something we're working on for the agents. Now that we're using TMS, we need what's called more seats for all of the agents. But that is something we're working on, updating people's accounts.
Okay, thank you.
I do know that I do have some agents in here that actually pay for it. But hopefully it'll be coming soon. So, Lori, do you still have a question, or I notice your hands are still up? So, okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, thanks.
Okay. Anne, you're still up. Do you still have a question or no?
I gave you a thumbs up.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I have a question.
Yes.
I do have a question. So, since we're here, when we're in the transaction part and you said to add somebody to the transaction, meaning I would add Kim to it or Bob or both or what?
So I would the manager. So the only reason that I made that suggestion would be because we have to sign, we're supposed to sign the listing contract. You see where that place is at the bottom? It says broker.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the manager, I just had them add me there. So if they are sending things off for signatures, they can actually just add my signature down here. I would be the last
And
party.
is that the way a manager is going to review the files instead of them on their desk?
No, that is just a way for them to sign the listing contract.
Okay.
We will still have to go in and review things.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So I don't need to add both of them. I just, mostly just for the listing file more than the.
That's it.
The
and once you add them, it'll be in your address book. And every time you have a listing, you can just choose them.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Somebody else had a question?
I do.
I have a question.
Okay. I'm sorry. We'll take Jackie's question, and for time, we're going to have to cut it. Jackie and Cheryl, and then we're going to have to cut it.
Okay, so my question is, once we submit executed documents for approval, something comes back, it's incorrect. I want to have that correction digitally signed. Do I move that to working documents, and then once it's completed, submit it back to the executed documents for approval?
No, you can actually work in the executed document and
for e-signature
and bring it back to executed. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Who was next?
How does the manager know whether something that we put into that file for them to approve?
So we're notified. We are notified, and the AA is notified. So we both have access to this dashboard. And all of the AAs, I would recommend that this is up on your screen at all times, but you will get notified down here that you have documents to approve.
Because as we're adding home inspection reply, they don't need to get involved with that.
No, you're not. If you add those things, you are not submitting again. So the only time that you are submitting is when you have a new listing, when you have a new sale, and when you have a closing. Now, here, keep in mind, so you're not, like, if you add a home inspection or a reply to inspection or whatever, you can add them to that the executed documents, but you're not resubmitting. Now, but here's a tip that's really important. If for some reason that you did a reply, let's say a change in terms that a price change has taken place, a reduction, the commission has changed, things that the AA needs to know, a closing date, things like that. If you did something that the AA needs to know, then at that time, what you want to do is to go into your documents, and there's a couple ways that you can do it. Usually, sometimes you can use the input sheet, make the change on the input sheet, and just send that over with a note in it telling them what the change is so they can change it, because they won't know if you don't tell them. Or the change in terms, if you wanted to send that over and just say, for your reference, change the closing date. So you can do that with an individual document that the AA needs to know about, but not for everything that you're adding into that folder. When you hand in the folder, you're handing it in listing, sale, closing, and it must be complete. Okay? All right. So if we're good, the agents feel free to jump off, and we ask the AAs and the managers to stay.
Rita, before they all jump off, I just want to say that we're not doing this to add more work to anybody. Okay. Once you have this figured out, it is going to make your life so much easier. Things are going to go faster. Documents aren't going to be missing. Files will be more complete. And you'll have everything at your fingertips. You don't have to worry about if someone needs a disclosure. You know, sometimes you call the office and say, could you send this disclosure? You're going to have all that at your fingertips. So it's going to be a lot easier. And for the AAs and the managers to process will really be streamlined. So that will really help them also. And like I said, in the future, there will be some more bells and whistles that we'll keep adding on how do you add text messages to your file so you have it all in one place in case, you know, heaven forbid, the commission comes in, there's a complaint filed and everything's in there. So all your emails you can put in there. There's a lot more that you're going to be able to do.
And just to add to that, just so you know, guys, I have 30 agents in my office. I have people in my office that are brand new to the business to people that have been here 30 plus years. I have 20-year-olds and I have 85-year-olds in my office. And I will tell you, I have been training each and every one on a one-on-one, and they are all using it. They love it. They love the tips as far as making their life easier. And, you know, even the ones that want to just still do in writing, just assured you can still do that. It's just a matter of getting it into the system so that everything's here. You're going to love it. It's awesome. I mean, and for me to have 100% participation in my office with such a diverse office, it's really, you're going to love it once you know how to do it.
And this recording will be sent out. Wendy will help me get it all together, and we will send it to you so you have it. And you can take your time and do the steps, because this is exactly what Rita has taught her agents on how to do it. It's the exact same thing. So let's thank Rita again. She's been absolutely fabulous. We thank all the sales associates for their time. And the AAs, the admins are really up to speed on this, and we're going to do a little training with them. So thank you, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you live soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Rita.
Bye. Thank you.